Picture yourself deep in a secluded forest, far away from civilization, with no Wi-Fi, cell phone service, or any means to connect with the outside world. It may seem like there's nothing you can do about it, until now. Since 2019, SpaceX has been launching Starlink satellites into orbit as part of Elon Musk's ambitious initiative to provide high-speed internet access anywhere, even in the most remote corners of the globe. The aim is to connect the planet by delivering reliable and affordable internet to areas where service is limited, costly, or completely unavailable. But there's more to Starlink than just providing internet access. It's part of a larger vision, which I'll explain at the end of this video. First, let's break down how Starlink actually works. SpaceX utilizes its Falcon 9 rocket to launch approximately 60 Starlink satellites simultaneously, stacking them on top of one another. These satellites are positioned at a relatively low altitude in space, as being closer to Earth helps reduce latency. Latency refers to the time it takes for a signal to travel to its destination and back. Lower latency results in faster internet speeds, making Starlink suitable for competitive gaming. The service aims for a latency of under 20 milliseconds, which is quicker than traditional cable internet and significantly better than what you'd typically experience with fiber optic broadband. While 1,000 satellites would provide basic service, SpaceX aims to deploy a total of 12,000 Starlink satellites into orbit. As of June 13, 2020, the company had launched 540 satellites. Additionally, SpaceX has applied for permission to launch up to 42,000 satellites, though it's uncertain if they will actually carry out that many launches. Why the need for so many satellites? Because Starlink satellites operate at much lower altitudes, they can't remain stationary. They must move faster to maintain their orbits. This means they cover smaller areas, necessitating more satellites for comprehensive internet coverage. What SpaceX is attempting to achieve is unprecedented. Historically, around 9,000 satellites have been launched, but of those, only about 5,000 are currently in orbit, and fewer than half are actually in use. In comparison, Starlink will create a remarkably large satellite constellation, which also raises concerns among scientists, particularly regarding light pollution. This is because these satellites are bright, so bright that they can be seen without a telescope. Nonetheless, they are positioned close to Earth. To mitigate this issue, SpaceX has been working on solutions. The latest batch of satellites launched included sunshades designed to block sunlight reflections from the antennas, helping to reduce their brightness in the night sky. Starlink is controlled on Earth with a device roughly the size of a pizza box. The terminal resembles a round UFO on a stick and is designed to be user-friendly. The instructions are simple: plug it in and point it at the sky. However, it's not as simple for people living in countries where internet access is heavily censored. One of the most well-known examples is China's Great Firewall, where platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and even Google are banned. Starlink's internet access bypasses national government's control since it doesn't rely on local communications infrastructure. However, governments that censor the internet are likely to ban the use of Starlink devices. While it would be nearly impossible to confiscate every device, these countries might attempt to jam the satellite signals or take even more drastic measures to block access. Elon Musk once remarked that China could take more extreme actions to counter Starlink. This reflects the broader challenge of maintaining open internet access in countries with strict censorship policies. Let's not forget that Elon Musk's other company, Tesla, has significant investments in China, including a large customer base and the Gigafactory in Shanghai. This creates a delicate balance for Musk as he navigates Starlink's potential challenges with the Chinese government. Starlink aimed to begin service in North America first, starting with the northern US and Canada in 2020, and then planned to expand coverage to nearly everywhere in the world by 2021. If you live in a large city, Starlink isn't necessarily going to replace your internet provider. Starlink isn't designed for use in high-density urban areas because it lacks the bandwidth to support such large populations. Instead, Its primary focus is on providing internet to areas that lack coverage or where the connection is unreliable. SpaceX does face competition in the space-based internet race, but it has a significant advantage. The company owns and operates its own rockets, which are reusable. These rockets can land back on Earth after launch, a key factor that drastically reduces the cost of each mission. This efficiency helps SpaceX stay ahead in the game. The British startup OneWeb was a competitor in the space internet race, but it filed for bankruptcy earlier this year. Meanwhile, Amazon's Project Kuiper is also aiming to provide high-speed internet from space. Its CEO, Jeff Bezos, owns Blue Origin, a company similarly focused on developing reusable rockets, making it a potential rival to SpaceX. As of 2024, the average price for Starlink service in the USA is about $120 per month for the standard residential plan. This plan includes a one-time equipment fee of $599 for the satellite dish and router. Starlink is expected to generate significant revenue for SpaceX, with estimates suggesting it could eventually bring in around $30 billion a year. This figure is approximately 10 times greater than the annual revenue SpaceX anticipates from its core rocket launch business. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that there's a bigger purpose behind the creation of Starlink. The larger goal is that the revenue generated from Starlink will help support Elon Musk's greatest ambition, sustaining human life through multiplanetary. Starlink will play a crucial role in funding the development of a city on Mars, with plans to utilize the satellite system on the Red Planet as well. Thus, Starlink is not merely a solo project, it is part of a larger vision. It serves not as an end in itself, but as a means to achieve a significant goal, establishing a sustainable civilization on another planet.